The purpose of this video is to help you make more effective protest posters. Of course, the most important thing is your idea. Who is your audience? You might also think about where this will be seen. Regardless, it needs to be clear. I have here a few things that I have found at a big box store near me. Jumbo markers, different kinds of paints you might use. In this case, these are tempera paints or acrylic paints. You also can use house paint. I have printed out some possible sayings that I would like to try to use on a poster. Maybe you can notice here, though, that I've used different fonts, and a font is basically a style for a type of lettering. And you can see that fonts come in several flavors. One of the flavors is what we call sans serif, or without a little foot on it. The other is serif, which means it has a little foot on the edge of the letters. There are also fonts that are more decorative. Some of those might be harder to use. And of course, your own handwriting is great as long as you give enough space between the letters and they're dark enough and clear enough so that your message comes through. So the next thing to think about is, how do we organize the space? If you just start in with a big marker, you are probably going to run out of room and the elements might be squished onto one side or the other. So this is actually my primary interest today, and that's just to talk a little bit about how to even out and make sure that your letters are in the right place. But I do want to measure halfway, and my board, and this is foam board, is 20 inches. So I'm going to measure halfway, which is 10 inches, with a pencil, and I'm going to lightly mark the middle of my board. And I need 3 rows just for the Palestinian half of this, and then not Mar-a-Lago, I need at least 2 rows, and I'm going to have to squish this a little bit more to fit it on the page. So if I count now how many letters are in each line, 1, 2, 3, 4, a space is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'm going to put a little 9 there. Palestinian, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? Homeland, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so if I were to divide each of these lines in half, Gaza has 9, so it would probably be 4.5 letters in, which would be about here. But we do notice that the I is a very skinny letter, and the others are sort of average. Okay, so you do have to take into account how wide a letter is. So one thing we might do is we might actually measure it instead with a ruler. And if I measure, this is 1 3/8 inches, right, which is 11/8, right? So if I take 11/8 and divide that in half, I've got 5.5/8. So, or 5.5. So really the middle is at the A, okay? So I'm going to put that A in the middle. I'm just going to do that by dividing it into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows, okay? I know that I could put Gaza, Palestinian, Homeland, not Mar-a-Lago. I'm going to make it 5-inch high letters. Instead of measuring again down the side, you could just use the square to help you find your top of the letters. So I've got sort of a grid now, sort of a layout. There are two parts. There are tall letters, capital letters, and there are non-capital letters, which are shorter but not half, right? Right. And it might be different for the Mar-a-Lago because I'm actually using a different font. I'm going to use a serif font for that, with the little feet, because it seems more like a little rich. And I am going to put the letter A here, right? So a little bit. But starting in the middle, working right, starting in the middle, working left is one way to do this in a way that helps you keep a sense of the space. And ideally, you're going to look over on this side and imagine how much space is on that side and that side. And I know that this marker is a little bit bolder. Sometimes if you start with a thinner amount, you can get it thicker by and adjust the edge of your letter a little bit if you made a mistake or if you don't like something. Okay, so that says Gaza is a Palestinian homeland. Now I'm going to work on not, and I think for that a red might be good. Okay, so that's what I've got now. Gaza is a Palestinian homeland, not Mar-a-Lago 2.0. Is that good enough? Is it clear enough? I suppose another thing I could do, if I really wanted to, would be to try and add a highlight here. Just try to do it always on one side so that it's consistent. It helps it look a little more three-dimensional. Okay, so that's step one, that's our first sign, and I'm going to work on another one now. So this poster is a poster that features the word stop in regards to Elon Musk, and it therefore is trying to look like a stop sign. And I have to admit, I just eyeballed the stop sign, so it's a little bit goofy. But I used a paint marker to outline the letters, and then I used a white paint, in this case gesso, which is a painter's ground paint. But you could use house paint, you could use whiteout, anything you happen to have. And filling in those letters with a brush really helps them be clear. Then I decided to cut it out and leave some of the funky edges just because it looked a bit better. And now I worked on the final sign for today, and that is a sign about USAID. And because it had a lot of large letters at the top, I left a lot of space for those and filled them in with marker. And then after filling them in with some color, I considered what to put below, and I decided to put a verse from the Bible that talks about Jesus saying, "I was hungry and you gave me food," which is something that I thought my audience would respond to. And that's from Matthew 25:35. I hope you enjoy your poster making for a good cause, whatever your particular vision is.